So I wanted to start with this story.
Okay.
And we had gone up to Fremont, California. Actually, it was a big fundraiser for the Rotary Club in Fremont,
Mm.
and we were meeting some friends there. And the downtown Fremont area is one of those, like old. You can tell that it was this quaint little town that kind of
Mm-hmm.
exploded, but the quaint
Mm-hmm.
little town is still right there in the middle of Fremont. And there's a row of shops, and one of the shops was this amazing wine shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an older building, and the wine shop was kind of narrow. And then as you went back, there was a stairway going upstairs, and they had converted this loft area into a wine bar.
Mm.
And it was just, very well appointed. And it was just one of those places you just were very comfortable and you wanted to just have a glass of wine and just enjoy the ambience. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, part of the setup here is we were supposed to meet this other couple, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started interacting with this other gentleman, I realized right away we did not agree
Mm-hmm.
on the topic of the day, let's just say.
Okay.
And finally, it became very apparent that we had a disagreement. And I finally looked at him and I said, I would rather have your friendship than my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking about today's topic, which is navigating the paradox of self-awareness, opinions versus insight. And so there is a paradox here, and we're going to explore it today and kind of like where it comes from in terms of opinions versus self-awareness. So,
Okay. So, like, meaning, aware of, well, I guess I'll just wait. I'll just wait. I don't totally understand what you mean, that's all.
well, let's say I have a very strong opinion on politics.
Mm-hmm.
How does that relate to my level of self-awareness?
I think only as far as you know what you think and how passionate you are about it, about
Okay.
certain topics,
And
maybe,
so I like
or
the
loyalty.
I like the way you use the term passion because that
Mm-hmm.
ties in here. So we're going to explore that, and I have as I always do, I have a controversial idea about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's take a look at this. Let's first look at
Okay.
self-awareness.
Okay.
So individuals with high self-awareness tend to hold opinions more tentatively, recognizing their own limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is all based on research. This is not something I'm pulling out of my shirt pocket here.
This isn't your opinion.
Right.
This is the awareness on the topic.
No, this is called confirmation bias. I went out and found the facts that supported my point of view.
Right, exactly.
So, how do you respond to this, though? Individuals with high self awareness tend to hold opinions more tentatively, recognizing their own limitations.
Well, I guess in that phrase would tentatively just mean like it's just shorter lived. It changes more, or what?
Okay, or maybe their grip on the opinion is not as tight. That's what it says to me.
With more self-awareness.
Right.
I mean, I don't I don't have an opinion on it, I guess, but it doesn't sound confusing. It does
Okay,
make
good.
sense.
All right. All right, let's go to the next point here about self awareness.
Okay.
I'm doing what I always do to you. You know,
Uh
I've been
I'm new
sitting
to
here stewing in,
self-awareness.
I've been stewing in
Hi,
this
I'm
for
new here.
days,
Yeah.
and then I'm just springing it on you like,
Yeah, you're
trapping
like,
a
welcome
mouse.
to my world. It's like the Mortal Kombat guy just goes, finish her. Like, anyway,
Uh,
sorry.
I can't wait for the next episodes of Halo to come out. I'm just addicted to it.
Oh, I never watched it,
What's the
but I bet
guy's
I would
name?
like it.
Master Sergeant or Master somebody, I can't remember. Just love the guy. Anyway, all right, here we go. So, self awareness, understanding one's emotions, biases, and beliefs. That's self awareness.
Yeah.
So when you become and we're going to get to your awakening because you experienced this in the moment it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then this idea of metacognition and an emotional intelligence comes in because what is metacognition? Metacognition is the ability to observe your own thinking.
Mm.
Metacognition literally means thinking about thinking. I call
Mm.
it awareness of thinking. And basically, emotional intelligence is to have the self awareness to know where your emotions are coming from.
Oh, okay.
So, I want to take you back to that day in December when you had your awakening.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment you woke up, what did you see?
Oh, I just saw like all the games of my ego.
Right,
Just
right,
instantly. It was just so easy to go, oh, that's not me.
right. And so you can
Yeah.
see why, your opinions are a product of your ego.
Oh, I see. So the more
You see,
self-awareness you have, the less likely you are to just believe your thoughts. And
that's
so
right,
the looser
right,
you hold your opinions.
right.
Okay, that makes sense.
You see where I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you caught the vision now. Okay.
You don't
All
need to
right.
apologize for anything. You lined it all up.
Well, it's not like we sit and have coffee and discuss this before we record it. So
Right.
you're at a bit of a disadvantage. I totally understand.
I think it's a fun game. I think on my feet. It's like this game show.
But you're sitting down. Wait a minute. All right. So what so here's my thesis for today. Strongly held opinions indicate lower self-awareness. Oh, ouch. I'm going to get hate for this. So the stronger your opinions, the
Could you hear me?
lower your, yeah,
Oh, okay.
go
Anyway,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. The stronger your opinions, the lower your self-awareness is.
The lower your self-awareness.
Whew. It's
So,
good. It's a good self-check for me.
so what I'm saying is I have opinions. I'm like everybody
Okay.
else. I have opinions, but in the back of my mind, I know it's all bullshit.
Mm,
I want to take a stance. I want a point of view. I want to be right. I'm just like everybody else. But in the back of my mind, I know that's all my ego front that I'm dealing
okay.
with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So guess where we're going to go next?
My awakening, because you mentioned it before.
We no, but
Okay.
we're going to go to my favorite topic,
Lions and unicorns. Oh. Oh, like human behavior?
limbic system.
Oh, limbic system. Dang it. I failed the game, Mark. Okay. Limbic system.
So so now this is very important, and specifically this comes down to the amygdala. The amygdala is part of the limbic system where we have fight or flight, and this is where all of this comes from.
Mm-hmm. That's the green
So
little eyeball looking thing in your picture, right? The
yeah, and
amygdala.
unfortunately I don't. That's right, and I don't have the green little eyeball
Okay.
picture to show,
Mm.
but we have plenty of videos on the limbic system. So what does the amygdala and the limbic system do? It promotes in-group loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And another way of saying that is tribalism.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just tell you, I was thinking about this last night.
That's why you brought up politics. Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I was thinking about this last night. I really want to make this comment because
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot in this country about racism. It's not actually racism, it's tribalism.
Mm.
It's an
And why do
us
you say
versus,
that?
because
Okay, us versus them.
I think tribalism is more guttural at a more survival level than the
Mm.
term racism. Racism is a higher order cognitive concept, but tribalism takes you right down to, where we came from on the African
Survival.
plain, surviving in
Uh-huh.
groups. And when
Uh-huh.
somebody from another tribe came along, it was a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And these ideas and our responses to them are deeply embedded in the primitive brain, which is the limbic system.
Mm-hmm.
And the limbic system focuses on coalition driven conflicts. So, us versus them,
Mm-hmm.
Republicans versus Democrats, you know,
Yeah.
blue states versus red states, rural versus
Right.
urban. We have
Right.
lots of different ways of forming coalition that drive conflicts with other groups.
Mm-hmm.
And
Homeschool versus public school.
there you see, it goes, yeah, it
Vaccines
goes
versus non-vaxxers.
right.
Yeah, I
Right.
get you.
And, I got to tell you, as a therapist, I have to negotiate this all the time because
Mm-hmm.
when I start counseling with people, they have strongly held opinions, and I've got to negotiate my way around those opinions in order to make any progress. Because if I
Mm.
confront them directly, I'm having a confrontation with their monkey brain immediately.
Uh,
So all of this grouped together equals opinions. Opinions basically are integrated with or produced by the tendency of the limbic system to promote in-group loyalty, tribalism, and group conflicts based on differences that we perceive with other people, because that comes from the limbic system.
mm-hmm. Which makes sense why you see the passion so present in so many of those things.
Yes, because when you use the word
Yeah,
passion, passion takes you directly to the limbic system.
right. Yeah,
And so when you wake up, you know you're not your limbic system, and the passion's still
right.
there, but your tendency to know how irrelevant it is, very apparent.
Mm-hmm. Or how quickly it can lead you to being like wasteful with your resources,
Right.
your time, your feelings, your energy, whatever else.
Well, it's far more important for me to engage you than it is for me to disagree with you over some, you know, opinion.
Smaller thing. Mm-hmm.
So, limbic emotions affect decision making and loves drama and is superficial.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I you're gonna love this. I want to quote a little scripture here.
You are. What?
In Romans, Paul says, "Those who are spiritually minded mind the things of the spirit; those who are fleshly minded mind the things of this world." And what
Mm-hmm.
the word "flesh" in the Greek means basically superficial.
Mm-hmm.
And what Paul's saying is, if you're superficial, you're addicted to drama.
Mm-hmm.
Those who are spiritually mature are not addicted to drama because they're not involved in the drama, the superficiality of what's going on in the world. And that's where opinions take us.
Mm. Interesting. So it almost sounds like the more mature you are, I don't know, maybe
Don't,
I'm
don't,
inferring too much,
no,
but
no,
the
don't
more
question your
much
stuff. Don't question yourself. Complete that thought because you're right on target.
the more mature you are, the more aware that it's kind of pointless to have an opinion about it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. I mean, think about this. you and I are different on different places in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm older. I know what the next step is for me, and the next step is to transition to whatever is next. Well, the cares of this world are not going to be there. Everything is going to
Mm-hmm.
change. You're younger. You're still in the struggle of making life in this world. So my
Yeah.
perspective on this drama is radically different because I know it's all going to go away in an instant someday.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of puts life in perspective.
I can say since really absorbing the idea that we are not our thoughts, and that we're just the awareness watching our life, this life that we're witnessing.
Hmm.
It's made it a lot easier to get like really expensive medical bills and like like have to pay whatever taxes, or it's just like I don't know, if it feels like it's more, even the tough stuff is more of an honor to witness, I guess,
Hmm.
than it
Hmm.
is to just suck to have to go through it. And I feel like I'm getting this whole spectrum of what it's like to be a human that's alive, rather than just
Right.
focus on having things I enjoy be around me and in my face all day.
Bingo. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And I mean, I obviously am like celebrating the good times too, but just more aware that it's part of the whole spectrum of being alive.
Right.
Yeah.
So to sum up the limbic system, human beings are not thinking beings with emotions. We are emotional beings that rationalize.
Mm-hmm. That's why we can
Until
trick
we,
ourselves with our own ideas.
until we awaken, basically what we're doing is rationalizing our experience all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
opinions help drive that rationalization.
Mm-hmm.
So the thesis here is the more self-aware you are, the less strong you hold your opinions. You still have them,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't own you. So,
That's cool. That's really neat.
do you think so? Kind of a fresh
Yeah.
idea.
Well, I mean, I, I can see that I've gotten less opinionated over the
Hmm.
last year. And frankly, it's nicer to be around myself.
I remember many years ago, I was going to do a workshop at a church, and I was
Hmm.
at the Sunday service promoting the workshop. They invited me to stop by and just say a few words, and I
Hmm.
made a comment in the middle of it that something about opinions, that the more that when you awaken, a lot of times you'll let go of your opinions. This woman in the back of the church just went berserk because she did not want to let go of her opinions. So,
Uh, uh-huh.
so it is kind of a confrontation with the ego, that's for sure.
Well, I suppose if you were basing like some of your value on your opinions, or maybe your opinions cause you to be really productive in your, like that's how you think you're worth
Hmm.
something. So it
Right.
sounds really threatening to lose your worth or something.
Now,
I
it's just a
remember,
current. Go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I remember after the awakening, just realizing like how much my ego would want to try to like charm people,
Mm,
and just getting really disenchanted with that
hmm.
for myself.
Right.
And I remembered thinking like, oh, I wonder how much I'll try to make jokes, or how much I'll try to like be warm or whatever, just truly wondering like, what am I like now after this awakening?
Right.
And really I realized I realized that just being that version of myself is just a choice, and I can, like choose to do it because it feels nice and it's a comfortable space for me, but not out of manipulation. Or
Hmm.
if I ever let my ego get in, it's more like, yeah, like able to recognize what it's up to before it even starts getting crafty. So,
I just had a thought I wanted to mention. I don't want to have it be interpreted by opinions I mean values or, you know,
Like
what was the
tenants.
other? Yeah. So, values and
Principles, maybe?
standards are not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily opinions. So if you have a certain lifestyle, I don't necessarily need to approve of that, but that doesn't mean I have to go express an opinion about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not talking
Right.
about letting go of your values and standards in any way, shape, or form. That's not what I'm talking about. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to necessarily go form coalitions and gossip and, struggle, turn it into a struggle for dominance
Yeah.
because I don't necessarily approve of the way you're living your life or what your
Sure.
choices are.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the moment of awakening, we've just established that we find ourselves outside of the limbic system and we are flooded with self awareness. And you just very elegantly have described that today.
Mm. Thanks.
Because you can immediately see where all this is coming from. And
Mm-hmm.
opinions are just an aspect, they're a facet of this ego struggle thing that we carry inside of us that basically is coming from the limbic system, which, and I'll make this statement, my limbic system wants you to die in order for me to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's really all about. If
Mm-hmm.
you need to die, great. I want to survive. That is
Mm-hmm.
the agenda of the limbic system.
Mm-hmm. And so then that's why it can be so easy for people to like just do kind of less noticeable violent things to each other because we don't really care that much maybe when we're in our animal brain.
Oh, by the way, this is Mastering Thought, where we talk about mind, marriage, and mental health.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. And of course, we hope you like and subscribe.
I
So,
was thinking like about 5 minutes ago, I wonder if I should tell him we should introduce the channel.
oh
We'll just
God,
introduce it at the end. It's fine.
yeah. Well, here we are introducing it. One more thing. Um, Opinions are seen as the domain of the ego mind and become secondary to the clarity that comes with true self-awareness.
Mm,
And that's really what happens is when you awaken, nothing supersedes the clarity of your self-awareness.
yeah.
And this is why I've said many times that social justice is not enlightenment. Those are two completely different things.
Okay. Uh, why did you? I guess like what about it do you think people get confused about? Maybe is the better question.
Well, because social justice is the same domain as opinions in the ego mind. Social justice is I need to go battle somebody else to get justice. And the
Mm-hmm.
concept of justice is not the same as self awareness. However, that being said, once
Mm-hmm.
you become self aware, you may realize there is a cause that you need to become involved in.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Because it
fine.
matters
You've
to you.
you found your
Mm-hmm.
purpose, but the
Mm-hmm.
but the big payoff is the self awareness, not the doing or
Mm-hmm.
taking up the cross or the cause or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're here
Mm-hmm.
to become self aware, not to prove that we're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm going to get people that disagree with that, but that's that's what I've discovered.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem with a lot of therapy, and maybe you can chime in here, is therapists who get caught up in opinions, social justice, the fad of the day of whatever philosophy is going around are not
Mm-hmm.
serving people because what people really need to do is awakened to their true motives and really what drives them inside, not to be given a justification for what they're already doing that's not productive.
Yeah. I've heard different things on that. And I can't honestly imagine a better way for a society to be than a bunch of self-aware, in touch people.
Right.
If that was possible, that would be amazing. But I mean, I've heard different people say that they think all leaders of society should do psychedelics before, at least 10 times before they are even running for office, things like that, just to get more in touch with their mind. And I can see a lot of uh, reason for why that would be suggested. I just
So,
think,
so let me just add a thought to that because that's an interesting
yeah,
concept. The reason why psychedelics would be beneficial is because they collapse the ego.
right, the metacognition part of it,
Right.
right?
However, the other thing they could do is do thought watching
Yeah,
because
totally, totally.
it takes you to the same place.
I wish you had a little button that had like a little trademark T next to thought watching. Sorry. It's Mark's proprietary exercise, right?
Yeah, and we have numerous videos on the channel that talk about how to awaken through this exercise. And but psychedelics is another route to take.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to expose you, but you've
No,
you've
that's
gone
fine. Go
down
for it.
you've gone down both routes. Which do you think was more effective for you?
I would say that psychedelics have given me a deeper dive on a smaller aspect of awareness.
Okay, all right,
And that thought watching has given me the more permanent shift, like the more obvious and general shift into
okay.
awareness.
I love that explanation.
Yeah, because
And
like, maybe one time with a psychedelic, I do a really deep dive on like how I recognize that physically being a woman makes me like the weaker sex, you know?
mm-hmm,
And that was like, 15 minutes really, who knows how long, but it felt like 15 minutes really thinking about that, getting to the bottom of it, and then never having an issue with it again, just like
mm-hmm,
accepting it
right.
and then moving on. Um, or, whatever, just what, how to actually think for myself and how I've never thought for myself. And then, like analyzing my pattern of why I never did that
Okay.
and then what I want to do now, kind of a thing. Yeah. Yeah, and then with thought watching, it just became easier to see like when things were genuinely me or just some like ego game,
So I want to
I
respond
guess.
to that because I think this is very interesting what you're saying because when I first met you, I knew about what you had done and the experiences
Yeah,
you had because you told me.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
was intimidated by that because I wasn't sure I could bring any value to your experience. I thought you were already there.
Oh, interesting.
And so I went ahead and taught you how to do the thought watching anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a bit surprised when you did have a breakthrough
Mm.
and an awakening experience. So,
Hmm.
I think that's that was for me. It was very interesting to note the differences between the kind of mind expanding experience of psychedelics and the practical
Yeah.
down to earth everyday disidentification with your own thoughts that the awakening
Mm-hmm.
that brought. So it was interesting for
Mm-hmm.
me to watch that for you.
How cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I really I felt vulnerable. I wasn't sure could bring any value to you because I
Mm.
thought, oh, she already gets it. And then when that actually
How funny.
happened, I was really pretty excited. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's like why I asked before if you think there are different types of awakenings, because it can feel like when a new part of my mind is sorted out, I no longer have, two different thoughts competing for the realty in my brain. It can feel like those things get sorted out when I'm in states like that, or in like a sort of a trance from meditation or craniosacral therapy or things like that. It can kind of take me
Hmm.
back into that really introspective, thoughtful, watchful place.
Great. Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
we wrapped this up with this discussion because it just feels like it was really the right time to have it. So,
Yeah.
but we'd like to hear from you. So, comment. Actually, I got a comment yesterday. We're going to turn it into a video this week. And it was a
Mm.
great comment.
I like
And
those.
some of these concepts, if you want to explore them, I've written some books. Here are three of them. The Dance of the Lion Unicorn is about relationships. Mastering Thought is about the thought watching exercise we've been talking about. And
Hmm.
Awakening takes it toward the enlightenment. And it is a sequel to The Dance. So if you want to know what
Hmm.
happened to Pat and Angie, you'll find out.
Hmm.
And then The Dance is also an Audible book. If you want to contact us for any reason, just
Get
scan
out
this
your cell
QR code.
phone.
If you scan this QR code, it will take you to a form. You can put whatever you want on the form. We don't care. But we will respond. And we have, some free webinars we're doing. And we will try to support you in exploring these concepts as best we can. So,
Well,
okay.
thanks for another great video, Mark.
Well, thank you. I mean, this was very much a collaboration. I'm excited that the way it came together.
Thanks for bringing me into your brain world.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
Bye bye.